Hello, and welcome to the Modern Witches podcast. We are here for Cancer season part 2, and we're starting off with the new moon. And I'm here with my co-hosts, Mariana and Karima. Hello to both of you.
Hi
Hey
guys.
guys.
We just recorded part 1, so we're really in the Cancer vibes. And this period of time in early July is intense, I would say, with the transits and with all of the feels. And I would say, just remembering to tune into Cancer medicine. Remember to connect with water, remember to create space to honor your emotions, inner child work, nurturing, whether it be your familiar, your family, your plants, whatever it might be, find an outlet for your nurturing.
And I just
But
wanted to add because she Mariana mentioned something that was like, of course, when you were talking on the first part about the nostalgic part of Cancer, when we were talking about Mercury and all that in Cancer, I feel like when we have so much activity in Cancer, there's definitely a nostalgia that can come up from having like nostalgia from the past or how it was before or how my situation was before and where I am now. So like when you feel yourself being in that loophole, just know that you are in this season that can bring you that feeling of like nostalgia and thinking that things were better before. And Kinston Caesar can bring that type of vibe, but like the goal here is to more like Casey said, nurture your emotion, find a space when you can feel fully. It's gonna be way more benefic than just cry over the past. That's kind of I notice Cancer when there's a lot of activity in Cancer that can definitely bring that thing.
that's so
Yeah,
real, Karima. Yeah.
for sure. We're like here to build new timelines.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We're really here with 2 Capricorn lunations during the Cancer season. We are here to build new timelines, especially with Pluto in Aquarius, which is a future-oriented timeline, Saturn of the future mind. So I just think that's a very good point.
Mhm.
I like that. It's gonna be the title of this episode: "Building New Timeline." I just like this one. I like it.
Love it. Okay, I'm going to pull up our chart for the new moon. We are casting our charts with Luna. Very grateful to have this elegant, simple, clean astrology software. It's a really great tool for beginners and seasoned astrologers alike. And hopefully this gives you a sense of what it's like to use Luna. Please go check it out. We have a discount code for 15% off for our listeners, and that's Confluence. All right, Cancer, new moon. Here we are. This is like that midway between our 2 Capricorn full moons that Mariana was just talking about. So this is an important lunation, a really important reset button, it feels like.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, all the Cancer lunations for me, because Cancer is ruled by Moon. The Moon is in her home sign. It's just very like coming back to a certain place that feels like it's holding you. It has a capacity to hold you. Every new moon in Cancer is the creation of a better home within and without, and just like creation, building of the connections that are nurturing and fortifying you in some capacity. So yeah, it's that it can be literal going back home, a travel somewhere, or a finding of a home, or an inner realization about the significance of the home.
I'm traveling on this day.
Oh wow.
Traveling home.
Travel. Isn't it insane?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you have Venus in Cancer, right? So
I
it's
do.
like, you do
Guilty.
have that also, like,
Yeah.
and it's right on, oh yeah, makes sense, in your third house,
I
duh.
have Venus at 20 degrees of Cancer, in fact, and it's sitting at
Wow.
22. So,
So right after the Venus return. Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's in your third house of actual trips. So yeah, um, this is
Astrology is
always,
real.
astrology is real, and yeah, you better get on board. The sooner you get on board, the better for you, not for us. So I think it's, yeah, it's, what do we have here? I love this lunation because we have Mars. It's like this lunation is an appliance sextile to Mars and Uranus. It's far away, the orb, but Mars in Taurus, it's trining Saturn. It just feels incredibly grounded in our core needs. That's how it feels to me. It is grounded in our core needs. And also, I just want to mention one thing. Jupiter here is in applying, I don't know why I want to talk about it, but I do. Jupiter here is in an applying trine to South Node in Libra and sextile to North Node in Aries. It's this whole lunation gives us hope that we can take action towards, and we can make brave steps towards something that feels more nurturing and aligned, and gives us a perspective how important it is to create a base that holds us and holds those that we love. Yeah.
So important. This is like just such a important moon for planting seeds on that, setting in new healing timelines in motion, picking up new routines that are supportive, and especially, like, I would say, routines that connect you with your community of care, whatever that is for you. Yeah, whether it be like stewarding the land in a more intentional way, connecting with local organizations, volunteering. I'm just encouraging that, like, that's my own agenda for us. But really connecting how you think of nourishment with the collective. The moon is the collective, it's the people. So how do you find nourishment in people and in your roles?
Yeah, and I like this thing you're saying about putting new routine that will be helpful for you and nurture yourself and also your community. I think is very important. And like finding new routine also that can be embedded in your ancestral or connection or lineage. If you are looking for like a way to start or to start to dig into where you're from, where your grandparents grew up, what is your culture, what was the religion there, what they were eating, what they were, how they were using the medicine. It's a great new moon to start this whole process and to start digging, because this new moon in Cancer represent the mother, but it also represent your ancestral lineage. And because it's trying Saturn, Saturn is your memory in Pisces, is holding the cup of water. And is why Saturn is great in Pisces, because Pisces in this is a water sign, and is very like everywhere, because everywhere is two fish going in different direction, is everywhere. And when Saturn's come in Pisces, it's holding water into a cup, so it's making it tangible and more accessible for our own articulation. And because this new moon is trining, we know it's like 4 degrees apart, 5 degrees apart, but it's still a nice trine, is helping us to move forward in that direction too, and to reconnect to something from a past memory or from a lineage that we may feel disconnect to. And see, if you feel that energy, that wave that's coming during this new moon, this is a sign that there is a pull to guide you and to say, like, reconnect to who you are in a way, and where was your home, and who was your sister.
I like that a
Love
lot.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, one more thing about this lunation is that Mars in Taurus is forming sextile to Saturn in Pisces. So here it is about courage to get over certain self-imposed limitations and long-standing fears in creating a better foundation for oneself. So it's something that can make our life more pleasurable, more connected to the natural rhythms, more like stable in the good way, in all the good ways, all the necessary ways within the changes that are happening around us. I think this Mars is like taking that leap, getting over that like little voice that is like been there for a very long time, telling you that you can't do this. This is out of the norm. But making sure that you're very selective. And Mars and Taurus in sextile with Saturn Pisces is very much about like channeling your energy towards something that you thoroughly and through see the value of.
Yeah.
Not wasting a drop of your vital force where it doesn't need to be wasted.
I do like what you said about the word courage, or talking about this Mars sextiling Saturn. I feel the whole new moon is about it's about courage, taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And like we said, Casey also said, building new routine. It's really about courage of feeling. Yeah.
It's so important. Like my hero Maya Angelou said, you can't practice any virtue without courage consistently. My favorite Aries. Like I love her so much, and it's for me, I'm always like, this is the highest octave of Mars.
It's so true in a world that is continuously like disempowering us. What more powerful than to say, no, I'm choosing my wellness, my health, my autonomy, my empowerment, my joy.
100%.
So a beautiful new moon. I'm excited to, cast some spells. I'm excited for everyone to cast their spells as we move through this deeply important Cancer season. The next transit we wanted to highlight is about a week later when Venus moves into Leo on the 11th. This is a big shift for all of us. Venus moving into the sign of the sun. I don't know what I think Venus and Leo is just, this opportunity to explore expression, self-expression, and an opportunity to have fun with it, to like play with it, to play with how Venus shows up in your life.
Being creative is very good transit for creative work, creative inspiration.
Well, yeah, Venus is values, the value of following what feels good to the body. The ruler is Sun in Cancer of that Venus, following something that simply feels good, doing something just because it's fun. But the thing is, I don't think we can talk about this Venus in Leo and separate
without Pluto
the next day.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
Yes. Anything that's entering Leo in this moment is going to be making that hard aspect, that opposition to Pluto. So
yeah,
it's a little bit damper.
So but like, it is difficult. There's no arguing about that. So like on July 11th, Venus enters Leo. On July 12th, Venus opposes Pluto in Aquarius. So we have this like couple days of just feeling like we want to do, and again, being met by the unfoldings of the events in the external world that are reminding us how in this moment of time disempowered we all are.
Mhm.
And I don't think falling into that state is the right. I think falling into the Venus is where the solution is. It's been like not submitting to that sense of disempowerment or lack of ability to change something within the reality immediately, meaning immediately change. There is a change that happened gradually, but being like, but how does your expression and sense of, like, we speak a lot about this joy is like, and it's not just words, but is essential to rebalancing this Pluto oppositions with Leo. They're going to be a 20-year long cycles. This cycle, particularly of Venus and Pluto, started when Venus and Pluto met in Aquarius, was somewhere probably like February or something. But like it's been few months that Venus and Pluto, this is a culmination of certain events, a certain unfoldings, and understanding how do we need to follow our values within how we show up authentically. Venus and Leo, we need to keep following that and seeing where we didn't. Maybe it's like a full, like for me it's like any opposition is like a full moon phase. So this is a full moon phase that pertains to the disbalance of power, and then as it's waning, we need to make adjustments from there.
Yeah, it's like what is our individual role in the collective? Like, not that it sets us apart or separate from, but that like our diversity is integral to this project that we're all participating in, and not seeing the two as separate, like the Aquarian ideal versus the Leo. And I do think, Karima, you're right. It's the opportunity to lean into creativity as like a generative connecting force.
Yeah.
But we also have the moon forming a trine to Jupiter on this day. So we're going to feel it. I feel like it's just like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
going to be.
when I see this type of, like when I see Venus for me, I see it as planet of sex and any gender, and I see the LGBTQ also in it. I just see like more like if you read about the work of Abu Mashar, you see Venus also included not only women but any other gender, and it's very interesting to see when Venus going to opposite Pluto in Aquarius, how it's going to impact women reproductive system, but also the LGBTQ community, how the politics going to suppress those rights. And I just feel like that is already happening, but it's just at that point, I think it's going to be a highlight on that. Usually Venus entering Leo represents a strong sense of those of those topics, but as soon as it hit Pluto, it's going to be an oppression, like mentioned Mariana earlier. She was talking about oppressing or reducing something, and it's definitely, I feel, around this topic is, I do think it's going to be a highlight around July 12th. And it makes me think about those two Connecticut, I guess, House representative were talking like a couple months ago, and they tried to make like, couldn't understand why, and like the whole like live they were saying why lactation consultant exists. There should not be a lactation consultant. As you know, when you give birth, usually the healthcare system, if it's good, if you have a good healthcare, depending on how you serve in this country, but you have a lactation consultant usually that is offered to you to help you breastfeeding. And those two House representatives, also women, were saying that is like the oldest thing in the world, and that women should be able to breastfeed without any help. the person who say that obviously never breastfed in her entire life. That's like, that's just impossible. When you start breastfeeding, you know that you need help. This is not a question. Like, this is obviously not a question. And so
Also, is it like it's just like that disavowal of care? It's
exactly,
like
yeah,
any type of care is superfluous, or like that rugged individualism taken to the extreme where it's like you should be able to figure it out.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like
exactly.
take
And
care of it. Yeah.
Mariana was saying this is something that is unfolding and you have the pick at the time. And I feel like there's so much conversation that was like when we talk about abortion, everything that has been done, for the past 2 years, and how we grow into that craziness, and that now we have to be concerned of caring and like taking care of our own body and having the choice to do whatever we want with our own body. So this Venus in Leo opposite Pluto in Aquarius, I do gonna rise up many of those topics.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as we
totally.
see that we are like regressing more and more, and the fight is becoming harder and harder. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. And just as a note, the cycle started on the conjunction on February 16th, for anyone interested. So Venus conjunct Pluto on February 16th in Aquarius, and now we're coming halfway through the cycle, the Venus-Pluto relationship.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it give me hope to see the moon. it conjunct South Node though, but the
Mhm.
moon trining Jupiter. I hope
Yeah.
ideas and feeling people's going to be able to unleash their emotional um feeling about anything that's coming up around those days, around those
Well,
topics.
any planet next to the South Node loses, diminished.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So South Node has a property to empty whatever's next to
Yeah,
it.
empty out.
So yeah, I'm thinking that here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
let us know, folks. What
Yeah.
does this feel like for you? We want to know in the comments.
Yeah,
Send us a message.
yeah.
Um, all right. So the next transit we wanted to tap into is on the 15th. We have Mars conjunct Uranus.
Ooh,
Little fireworks
baby.
show.
Just,
Um,
just after Venus in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius, we have this big boom. Like, Mars
yeah.
comes on Uranus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little zap to your nervous system. This is, yeah, a moment of unpredictability. I don't know, sometimes this transit can cause us like accidents. And I don't mean to say that to like scare you, but I do mean to say like travel with caution, or just like be more cognizant of the ways in which you're like maybe out in the world
Mhm.
on this date, the 15th.
Yeah. I find that this difficult conjunctions, like all sort of external cuts, which is Mars,
Mm-hmm.
like little, like bumping into something. Like hopefully the worst that is gonna happen is that you'll bump into a door or something accidentally, you know? But like it's always, I look at it as a reflection of inner state,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So this restlessness in, because it's in a fixed sign, that there is a desire to shift, to move, that for the plates, the tectonic plates to move.
Mm-hmm.
And there is almost like a soil ready for that. And it can create restlessness because it has been simmering for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus has been there for a while. Mars is also not the quickest planet. So I just feel we need to be very mindful about our sense of how restless we are, how impatient we can be, because we've been patient for so long. So it's like this thing that's like, but I've been so patient, and even Taurian patience has its end of the rope, you know? So it's just something that we need to be mindful again, Taurus, grounding. I just want us to use this energy in making the change without expecting like quick results. Like with everything in Taurus, being very mindful of how we act, the sharpness of our choices. You know, where's Venus? Venus is in Leo. So like ego choices. No. just be very careful with that, because it can be this like, but I want, but I deserve, but we you know, yes, you are. Yes, it matters. But how you go about this is going to make all the difference, because this can be revolutionary breakthrough. They can really take very stagnant energies to the next level, or it can really create havoc.
Yeah.
Inner
And
state.
I feel more scared about. I don't like to use those words because I don't like when astrology scared us, you know. But this conjunction usually, like when I see in Taurus that land, so it can be in terms of when I see what's going on in Palestine, in Gaza. I'm watching to those transit all the time, to see if it's not a day or around this day, we can think of like something happening into the Gaza trip. I'm being very forward here. I'm being very direct about like what I'm thinking about. It's also a shakeup. I feel like a shakeup of the landing somehow, and very powerful, and anger around conquering or getting into the land and like taking in a very enraged way and very spontaneous way, something that not thinking through about what might happen was on the other side. It's just that's when I think on a personal level, like you used to say, Mariana, it's a very impulsive. It can be great for breakthrough, for getting free of something, giving you the energy of getting free of something. But like I said, be mindful of people around you for sure. In terms of world astrology, I feel like it's a very different way that I feel
Yes.
it.
Yeah. I would say like, yeah, just, I don't know, honor the rage. Like I would say with this type of energy, this is why astrology is helpful. We understand that this conjunction is happening. Like find an outlet for your rage, or a container for your outrage. Break something. Like I feel like break something with intention, you know, like smash a plate. I don't know. Scream into your pillow, do something that gives you the opportunity to like work out and channel this energy. Give it a place to go. I don't know.
Just be mindful from July 14th to July 16th. I would even say July 13th to July 17th. So
Yeah,
give it an orb, give it like 2-degree orb. It's like Mars takes like about almost 2 days to move through like a degree. So like just be mindful about that. Moon is in Scorpio, forming square, like applying a position to that Mars-Uranus conjunction, square to Mercury. Moon people is in detriment in full in Scorpio. You know?
Yeah, and because we had so many conjunctions that happened in the sign of Taurus recently.
It all again reawakens those conjunctions. It reawakens the Jupiter Uranus. It's sort of like that thing that like the way I always think about difficult transits, good, bad, whatever, that we often think about them like something good or bad is going to happen to us or to those we know, but it happens to everyone. So those we consider negative or malicious energy, so those we consider positive and good energies, be it people, entities, organizations, countries, whatever that is, that affects them. And I just always look at it and I'm like, it doesn't care. The planets do not care about good or bad. As bad, as sad as it is, they do not have that. I do like, it's like, that's not how things work in good or bad paradigms. It's just the energy that is collectively pulling individual Mars-Uranus effects that we all project into the reality. And then someone can really master that energy and someone cannot. I don't know, do I make sense with what I'm saying? But it's sort of like,
yeah, absolutely.
reckless dump of that energy on behalf of every individual is dangerous for the collective. Because
But we each,
someone or something can collect that and has more agency around channeling that, then it's not going to be good or bad. It's what we will perceive it as one of those, but ultimately it's about what we do individually. Can we ground enough so what we feel cannot be used in the ways that is, can we make a substantial like Taurian act of stance that where we are, that is premeditated. We need to be a bit more premeditative here. You know,
basically, because it can come from nowhere. It can come from, because Uranus is so unexpected. So being aware of that, those feelings can come up from the less, like the tiny triggering thing. Yeah.
And again, I think this is related to what we were talking about in the first part of our Cancer season episode. But you know, your practices, the things that you do to keep yourself grounded and connected and sane, are the most important thing that will help you weather these transits with resilience. So it's like, I think about taking herbal medicine. You know, when you take herbs, you need to be consistent. You need to take like the dosage that's going to be right for you, but you need to be consistent about it. And that's when it really starts benefiting you. So, you know, take your nervines and start taking them when Cancer season begins. Like start these regimens so that you can be prepared to weather these like jolts to the nervous system.
Exactly. Like just think about, why do we have astrology? Why the knowledge was granted to us? So we look at this and we're like, oh, this is happening on July 15th. How can I prepare? If we don't do that, what's the freaking purpose of all of it? So why, you know? So it's like, well, I'm still gonna like fly off the handle, because no, this is not the purpose of astrology. The purpose of astrology is to channel this, to be conscious enough to channel this.
I do like how in this specific chart, there's that square to Mercury. And for me, like, because I am a writer, it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to like write it out, you know?
I love that.
It's an opportunity to just like automatic write, or write, I don't know, like write out your dreams for whatever this new world you're building. Like do something that feels radical with the written word or with communication, or even with meditation, thinking. That to me feels like a good way to channel
I love
this.
that. And let's end this talking about this transit a little bit on a positive note. Because ultimately, like I said, Mars is courage. In Taurus, Mars is like planned and courage that we meditated on. So here it's like an opportunity to make a huge leap towards Taurian things, Venusian things, towards a better foundation that is radically different from what we have been doing in the past. So it's kind of like, think about it as like, what can I do differently? What is important for me to do differently prior to this? What will support me and those that I consider to be my community?
And it's such a good, this is like such a beautiful lead up to the full moon, because this is like we're waxing moon, quarter moon, we're getting to this full moon place. So this is an amazing place to receive downloads about where you are in this process, this between these two Capricorn full moons. Which then we actually have that full square in this full moon chart. Let me get it exact here. But we have the square to Uranus and Mercury exact. So let me get back here. Put the right time in. Oh, Karima, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I was like,
No.
just
There we
it's
go.
very interesting that we have this, like I said earlier, this first full moon right at the beginning, like the day after the sun entered the sign of Cancer, and now we have another full moon in Capricorn the day before the sun entered Leo. It's very like a checking, I feel, where you are. Definitely you can work inside during that cycle and see where you were on the first full moon in Capricorn and the second, and what changed or what worked, especially with this Uranus activity in the middle. There is probably some more messages or things that's coming to you that changing this month. I think this month is Cancer season is about change, and like you mentioned, Marianne, courage for the new moon, courage to feel, and again we're going back to this also first full moon when it is about time and managing where do you allocate your time and what is important to you. And with this Uranus access and Cancer activity, there's definitely a focus on myself, like my feelings, how I process my emotion. What do I do to nurture myself and people that I love? And Mercury in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus during that full moon. It's just help us to get out of our comfort zone or how we process our, like how is our thought process and how we usually think about different things. And Uranus is just breaking down this and it's creating a revolution in our own head, you know, or like how and help us and guide us to think differently. Um, so yeah, I it's not an easy full moon at all,
Mm-mm.
but it's a full moon that can bring the most change and most highlight into our life messages. Yeah.
I don't dislike this full moon. I really don't, because not to say that it's an easy one, it's not. But Mars, prior to the full moon, Mars moves into Gemini in the very, very end of the Cancer season and starts forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. And the moon is forming conjunction to that Pluto in Aquarius and trine to Mars in Gemini and sextile to Neptune in Pisces. So I feel like this is coming to inevitability, understanding that Mercury square Uranus in like, there's no way of deceiving oneself any longer that you can stay away from the changes and from the actions and participations and involvement that this moment is requiring of you. That responsibility, because during the first lunation, Saturn is direct, during the second Capricorn lunation, Saturn is retrograde. So we almost like being taken back and being like, well, how are you going to take responsibility in the conscious involvement that you need to put yourself into the situations of conscious involvement on some level? Moon people conjunction to Pluto, trine to Mars, very much about overcoming certain long-standing fears that deal with loss of power if we do get involved, if we do involve ourselves into something that bigger than us. I feel like this is a major, like,
I mean, Pluto, yeah,
yeah, fear
like
of being involved with something so
immense.
consuming and unavoidable. And this is inevitable. This is inevitability of it all. And it's kind of like there is no way you're gonna get out of this unscathed on all levels. But it's hard, like there is opportunity to ride this wave with this Mars trine and Neptune sextile. There is an opportunity to channel the structured vision of your individual participation and the amount and time that you're willing to participate, but you cannot stand aside. It's kind of like that. It feels for some reason to me purely intuitively good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's nice to see Mars trine Pluto. Because I think we've had a lot of Mars oppositions to Pluto, and we will have them this year that are extremely violent and like highlight that a violent side of that alchemy between those two planets. But perhaps too, with this with this Mars trine to Pluto, there's an opportunity to feel empowered or like honor the capacity we can feel when we are in our right relationship to power. I'd like to see it that way for sure. But I do think you're right, Mariana. It's like to me, it's like there's no escaping this transformation. So are you going to choose to be in victimhood, or are you going to choose to be an active participant in the transformation?
Yeah. Moon
And
with Pluto. Yeah.
I just love that Uranus is involved too. I do think Uranus making that square to Mercury, sure, it's a square, there's tension, but I feel like for me, squares, there's like seeking resolution or seeking expression. It's like pushing us.
Yeah.
In generative ways, hopefully.
I do love squares too, because like otherwise nothing, the needle does not move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cathartic. That's what it feels. And after the full moon, always it's 2 weeks that follow that unfolding of the events.
I pulled 10 of Stones, which I think is really cool. So 10 of Pentacles for this Capricorn full moon, which is like all about legacy, wealth, Capricorn.
It doesn't get more Capricorn. I mean, it does,
Capricorn,
but it's Capricornian.
Which I don't know. It's interesting to see. Like, I think 10 of Pentacles can ask us questions of like, how do we conceptualize abundance and legacy? And with Pluto in this lunation, I think there's an opportunity to really think about like, how am I as an ancestor? What kind of ancestor am I becoming? And I think participation in this new world building is, for me, central to that question.
Yeah, and the participation, we always like think, so this is a maturation, it's individual and collective maturation, lunation. That's what it speaks of. And we can't start with a grand. We need to start with our own authentic responsibility, our own personal responsibility first over what we deem important and what we deem expression of our true selves. Only from that place can you be in congruence with the collective change. You can't be in that alignment from a not authentic place. There's no way. And authentic place can look like whatever it is, whatever it is. But I feel like most people right now struggle with taking responsibility for what they truly need to do and how to apply it. Because a lot of inauthenticity has been cultivated within our society. And I'm not talking about inauthenticity of person as a person, but inauthenticity of purpose.
Yes. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the last transit
Yeah.
that we are here to talk about.
I cannot wait to see how folks have navigated this truly immense Cancer season. I would say, yeah, tuning into that like nurturance, just as a reminder when we're navigating a lot of intensity, a lot of transformation. That to me is where the true world building exists, is like centering care. So it's fun to see all these really important like building blocks during Cancer season. And I hope that really resonates.
100%.
Okay, so thank you to everyone for tuning in and listening. As a reminder, for those who are listening to audio, you can also tune in on our YouTube channel and see the video version. And we'd love to know your thoughts. Do you like seeing our little squares? And we're going to be experimenting with more video over the course of the year. So tune in. We love your feedback. And as ever, please share this episode with a friend. Leave us a comment, leave us a review. It really, really helps. And we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.